Hello everyone, and this is all about flotation tanks. I had a very special treat for my birthday because my daughter paid for me to go into a flotation pod in Manchester, and this is a company I went with. They're called Float Level, and that's what you get when you go on the website. That's the information they provide you with. So I want to tell you a little bit about how amazing it is to go into a flotation pod or room. So the generic term that we use is tank, and it depends on the size of the receptacle as to whether it's a pod or a room. So a pod literally is enough to enclose you, and you can see what a pod looks like here. And when you go into a room, it's obviously considerably bigger than the pod, and it's a really a matter of personal preference which you go for. And whichever it is you choose, it is a truly remarkable experience. So let me describe it to you. So after having a shower first, and I will say this, that the people at Float Level are very good at giving a really detailed induction into what it's going to be like before you go in. I've got a lovely reception area, and also a really nice place for you to go and relax afterwards. And they give you all the information you need to know so you can take the best out of this experience. And they're usually having the experience last for an hour. And so after a shower, you get into the tank or room, obviously not wearing any clothes because that would be restrictive. And the first thing you notice is that the water that you get into is exactly the perfect temperature, so you feel neither hot nor cold, but just perfect, probably blood heat, I would imagine. And at first there is a light, you can see the light there, so when you get into the tank or the room or the pod, and you close the lid yourself manually, and then there is a switch, and once you switch the switch off, then the light goes out and you're in complete and utter darkness. And depending on where you go, in this particular one in Manchester, what they do is they play you gentle ambient music for about 10 minutes to allow you to get used to the place that you're in, and then the music just fades away. And so what you have is you have no light, no sound, and your body's completely supported by the water. And this is the third time I've had this experience. I want to explain to you what it's like, because it's really so extraordinarily wonderful. Because at first when I got into the water, I just adopted a floating position, but then I realized I wasn't fully relaxed, and it's possible to let your head drop right back. And it's so amazing the way it's worked out, because what you will find is the only part of your body that's completely out of the water is your face. So from just above your eyes, your forehead, all the way around to your mouth. So it's possible to completely relax and let go and just float in the water. Now, it was a particularly valuable experience for me because I was in a fair amount of pain at that point due to a back injury. And it took me 7 or 8 minutes for my body to adjust, and the pain gradually eased away until I realized I'm in no pain whatsoever. So this is a truly great gift, and it's the explanation of what the flotation experience provides you with, because your body is able to go into a deeper state of relaxation than anything that I can imagine, other than if a person was lucky enough to be, say, weightless in an anti-gravity space, which at the moment is not available to almost all of us. So this is your nearest that experience, because the water is providing you with the support. And then what you can do after a little while is you can start to move your limbs. And I just found it was just nice just to kind of move my limbs into a position that I felt really comfortable, and then just completely let go. And here's a funny thing about it, because I'm lying in the room or the pod, and it's completely dark, so my eyes can be open or closed, it just doesn't matter at all. And actually I am moving very, very slowly, and I get to realize this after a certain length of time, when suddenly a part of my body just touches very gently the side of the pod, and all I need to do is just to move that particular part of the body, just move my limbs, and I'm floating away and I'm back in the middle of the pod again. Some people do prefer the larger space, because of course that's much less likely to happen, although even when I went in the float room eventually I noticed that my body did touch the side, but that's no problem at all. So any kind of pain in my case within 7 or 8 minutes, completely gone. So that's a great gift for anyone experiencing pain. And otherwise, it's like, yes, finally, there is absolutely nothing to do. Nothing to eat, nothing to drink, nothing to look at, nothing to say, nothing to listen to. Just be. And it's funny because we do call ourselves human beings, and we spent so much of our time doing. And so this is a chance to really fully embrace being a human being in this experience with the tank. So I thoroughly recommend this. If you've never done this in your life before, there are flotation pods and rooms usually in the cities and sometimes in more rural locations in many countries in the world. It's worth having a look to see if you've got one anywhere near you, and I thoroughly recommend this experience. And at the end of the period of time, or near the end of the period of the time, the ambient music comes back in again, and finally the light switches on at the end of the hour, and then you just slowly in your own time get yourself up and go out and have another little shower, and it's time to put the clothes on and go into the relaxation room afterwards. And there's a lovely pint of water, a little bit of lemon in there for rehydration purposes. So all this is good enough, but I'm going to take you several steps further. So it was only by asking questions afterwards that I discovered something really extraordinary. Those who know me and know my films know that one of my great pleasures and enjoyments in life is to get into an Epsom salts bath. Epsom salts, it's magnesium sulfate. It's a really good detoxer for the body. So a hot Epsom salts bath does me the world of good to detox. However, and this is a really big however, when you get into a flotation pod, that water actually contains 1/2 ton of Epsom salts, which means you've got the buoyancy. That's why you're able to float so effortlessly, because there's so much dissolved salts in the water. But because it's Epsom salts that they use, you're having the most phenomenal detox as well. So this is another huge advantage to it. Now I want to give a special thanks to my friend Ahmed Salahuddin, who gave to me an idea some days before I went into the pod, and I tried it out first of all in the bath. It's a most unusual breathing exercise, and it's a breathing exercise that is reputed to be one that the Buddha used to attain enlightenment. And all he used to do is he would breathe in fully and deeply through his nose, and then when he exhaled, he would also exhale through his nose, but he would make a humming sound, rather like this. To do this anywhere is a really interesting experience. To do it in an Epsom salts bath, the effect of the space of the bath starts to increase the resonance, and it's really rather magical. Well, that's nothing compared to the wonder of doing this in a flotation pod. So I spent a nice bit of time in the pod doing this, despite the fact that I had the pain in the ribs, which made a full inhalation exhalation a little bit challenging, but I still did it. And what I discovered was something utterly amazing, because the resonance of the humming sound as I breathed out through my nose, I felt it in my body, I felt it in the pod, and I felt it all reflecting back into me. And it is a truly extraordinary healing experience to feel your entire body and the space that you are contained by in the presence of that humming sound. And I know that the next time I go into a flotation pod or room, I will experiment a lot more with making different sounds inside the pod. So this is something that I really so strongly recommend you to do, to get a bit playful and see about making sounds, but particularly this one that the Buddha made use of, the breathing technique to accelerate his enlightenment, which I'll just repeat. It's breathing in fully and deeply through the nose, and then breathing out through the nose but making a humming sound. A totally gorgeous experience. So I totally recommend, if you get the chance to go to a flotation pod or room, go for it. It's not like anything else you will ever have done in your life, and it's truly magical, and you have the ability to relax and detox in a way that's very special. I'm really looking forward to my next one. Thank you very much.